There are moments in life when everything inside you wants to react. Someone insults you and your tongue itches to respond. Circumstances turn against you and your mind burns with anger. People misunderstand you and your heart aches to defend itself. This is the reality of being human. We want to control, to respond, to prove ourselves. But the greatest strength is not always found in reaction. Sometimes the real power lies in restraint, in silence, and in handing over the matters you cannot control to Allah. Mastering emotional discipline is a mark of true strength because it is not about controlling the world around you but about controlling the world within you. Every day, you are tested in ways that stir your emotions. Someone may insult you and your natural instinct is to defend yourself immediately. A situation may not go as planned and frustration rises, pushing you to react. You may feel ignored, unappreciated, or misunderstood and your heart aches to lash out or withdraw in bitterness. But emotional discipline means stepping back in that moment, breathing, and refusing to let temporary feelings dictate permanent decisions. It means training yourself to respond with clarity rather than react with impulse, to choose calmness over chaos, and to place trust in Allah rather than in your fluctuating emotions. What many people don't realize is that a lack of emotional discipline can ruin opportunities, relationships, and even inner peace. A single outburst can damage a bond built over years. A single harsh word said in anger can linger in someone's heart forever. An impulsive decision made in frustration can lead to regret that takes a lifetime to undo. This is why mastering the art of emotional discipline is not just desirable, it is essential. It saves you from regret, protects your dignity, and ensures that your actions reflect wisdom instead of weakness. The one who can govern their emotions is stronger than the one who can conquer an army, because real battles are not always fought on battlefields. They are fought within the heart. Emotional discipline does not mean you suppress your feelings or pretend they do not exist. It is not about becoming cold or indifferent. It is about acknowledging your emotions but not allowing them to control you. Anger may rise, but you choose not to let it explode. Fear may whisper, but you refuse to let it paralyze you. Sadness may weigh you down, but you do not let it strip you of hope. This balance is the essence of strength. It is the ability to feel deeply yet respond wisely. It is to say, I will not deny what I feel, but I will not allow what I feel to rule me. There is great wisdom in learning to pause before you respond. A pause gives you time to filter your words, to measure your actions, to decide whether what you are about to do will serve you or harm you. In that small space between stimulus and response lies your power. Anyone can react in the heat of the moment, but very few have the discipline to pause, reflect, and then respond with dignity. That pause is not weakness, it is strength disguised as silence. It is a declaration that you are not a slave to your emotions, but their master. The beauty of emotional discipline is that it not only protects you but also elevates you in the eyes of others. People respect those who remain calm under pressure. They admire those who do not let anger dictate their behavior. They trust those who are steady even in the midst of storms. Think about it, who would you rather turn to in times of crisis? The one who panics, shouts, and blames others, or the one who breathes, thinks clearly, and handles the situation with wisdom? Emotional discipline earns you respect, trust, and influence because people know you are not carried away by every wave of emotion. At its core, mastering emotional discipline is also an act of faith. It is to believe that you do not need to fight every battle with your own strength, because some battles are better left to Allah. It is to know that reacting in anger may satisfy your ego for a moment, but trusting Allah with your pain brings peace that lasts. When you restrain your tongue, when you withhold your hand from harm, when you refuse to let your emotions lead you into sin, you are not just protecting yourself, you are aligning yourself with divine wisdom. You are saying, I will not let anger dictate my actions, because I trust that Allah's justice is greater than mine. Mastering emotional discipline takes practice. It requires self-awareness, patience, and humility. You will not always get it right. There will be moments where your emotions slip through, where you speak too soon or act too quickly. But every time you catch yourself, every time you pause, every time you choose calmness instead of chaos, you grow stronger. Over time, you build a resilience that cannot be shaken easily. You begin to see that your strength is not measured by how loudly you can shout, but by how quietly you can endure. In the end, emotional discipline frees you. It frees you from being controlled by other people's actions. It frees you from the regret of impulsive mistakes. It frees you from the storm inside your own heart. It allows you to live with dignity, clarity, and peace, knowing that you are no longer a prisoner of fleeting emotions, but a master of your inner world. And when you master yourself, you open the door to mastering everything else in life. Because the greatest power you can ever hold is the power over your own reactions. Surrendering to divine control is one of the most liberating experiences a human being can ever embrace. So much of our daily stress, worry, and frustration comes from our desire to control every detail of life. We want events to unfold according to our plans, people to behave according to our expectations, and outcomes to match our desires. When they don't, we feel frustrated, disappointed, and at times even broken. But the truth is that life was never meant to be controlled entirely by us. The Creator is the one who has full authority over the unseen, over the outcomes, and over the very path our lives will take. Our role is not to carry the burden of control, but to trust the one who already has it. This is what surrendering to divine control means, releasing the illusion of total power and accepting that Allah's wisdom surpasses our understanding. When you surrender, it does not mean you become passive or careless. It does not mean you stop making effort or sit back waiting for life to simply hand you what you want. No, surrendering is about balance. It is about striving with all your heart, giving your best effort and then letting go of the need to dictate the result. It is about understanding that your effort is your responsibility, but the outcome is not. It is in Allah's hands. You plan, but He is the best of planners. You try, but He decides what is best for you, even when it looks different from what you imagined. One of the greatest burdens we place on ourselves is the belief that we must have everything figured out. We think we need to control the future, predict what will happen, and prevent every possible setback. But this is impossible, and the attempt to do so often leaves us exhausted and anxious. When you learn to surrender to divine control, you begin to find peace even in uncertainty. You no longer need to know every detail of the journey ahead because you trust the one guiding your steps. You stop asking, "What if things go wrong?" and start believing, even if they go differently, Allah's plan is still right. That shift in mindset is powerful. It removes the chains of fear and replaces them with the wings of trust. Think about how many times in life you prayed for something you thought was best for you, only to realize later that not getting it was a blessing. Or how often something you considered a setback turned out to be the turning point that shaped you into who you are today. These are reminders that divine wisdom sees what you cannot see. You might think a door closing is a loss, but it could be protection. You might think a delay is unfair, but it could be preparation. You might think a challenge is punishment, but it could be elevation. Surrendering means believing that what Allah does is always for a reason, even when your limited vision cannot comprehend it in the moment. This act of surrender also eases the weight of disappointment. When you do your best and something doesn't work out, instead of drowning in frustration, you can say with peace, "It was not meant for me, and what is meant for me will never miss me." That mindset saves your heart from unnecessary pain. It keeps you moving forward instead of being stuck in regret. You realize that your responsibility is only in the effort, not in the outcome. The outcome was never in your hands to begin with. So why punish yourself for not being able to control what was never yours? Surrendering to divine control also builds resilience. Life will test you with losses, delays, heartbreaks, and disappointments. If you try to control everything, these moments will crush you because you will keep asking, "Why me? Why now? Why this?" But if you trust Allah's control, you endure with strength because you know the one who allowed this hardship also knows why you need it and how you will grow from it. This belief turns pain into purpose and trials into lessons. It gives you the ability to smile in the storm, not because you enjoy it, but because you know the storm has meaning and it will eventually pass. At its core, surrendering to divine control is about humility, is about admitting that you do not have all the answers, that your knowledge is limited, and that your perspective is incomplete. It is about kneeling in submission to the one whose knowledge is infinite and whose wisdom is flawless. That humility does not weaken you, it empowers you. Because when you stop fighting against the divine will, you align yourself with it. And when you align with divine will, you walk with strength, clarity, and peace. You stop being consumed by what you cannot change and focus instead on what you can, your attitude, your effort, your faith. Ultimately, surrendering to divine control is freedom. It frees you from anxiety over the future, from regret over the past, and from the need to control what you never could. It allows you to live in the present, doing your best with full sincerity, and then leaving the rest to Allah. It allows you to sleep at night, knowing that your affairs are not random. They are managed by the one who loves you, who cares for you, and who knows what you need better than you know yourself. That kind of trust brings a peace that no amount of control could ever give. Responding with wisdom instead of impulse is one of the most powerful habits a person can cultivate, especially in moments of challenge and provocation. Human nature inclines us to react instantly when we feel attacked, misunderstood, or pressured. Our emotions rise, our anger fuels our words, and our impatience drives our actions. Yet more often than not, those impulsive reactions only worsen the situation. They damage relationships, escalate conflicts, and leave us with regret once the emotions subside. Wisdom, on the other hand, slows us down. It teaches us to pause, breathe, and evaluate before responding. It allows us to rise above the heat of the moment and act from a place of clarity rather than chaos. This is the difference between someone who allows their emotions to control them and someone who learns to control their emotions with the guidance of faith and patience. When you respond impulsively, you give your power away. You let your anger, fear, or frustration dictate your actions, and in doing so, you lose control of yourself. But when you choose wisdom, you maintain composure and strength. You acknowledge the emotion, but you do not let it consume you. You recognize the situation, but you don't allow it to dictate your worth or peace. Wisdom reminds you that not every comment needs a reply, not every battle is worth fighting, and not every situation requires an immediate reaction. Sometimes silence is the wisest answer. Sometimes walking away is the greatest show of strength, and sometimes choosing patience over retaliation is the most powerful act of courage. Wisdom is not something that appears in the heat of the moment without cultivation. It is built over time. It comes from training yourself to pause before reacting, to think about the consequences of your words and actions, and to remember that once spoken or acted upon, some things cannot be undone. An impulsive reaction might satisfy a fleeting sense of anger, but it can leave scars that take years to heal. A wise response, however, often diffuses conflict, preserves dignity, and opens the door for growth and understanding. This is why wisdom is so valued. It protects not only your peace but also the peace of those around you. Imagine a moment when someone insults you or spreads false words about you. The instinctive reaction is to lash out, defend yourself harshly, or return insult for insult. But ask yourself, does that reaction really solve anything? Does it elevate you, or does it drag you down to the same level as the person who tried to hurt you? Responding with wisdom might mean staying silent, trusting that the truth will surface in time. It might mean replying with calm words that disarm the aggressor. It might even mean leaving the matter to Allah, knowing that He sees what you do not and will handle what is beyond your control. This is wisdom, not weakness, but strength that comes from restraint. Responding with wisdom also protects your relationships. How many friendships, marriages, and family ties have been damaged because of words spoken in anger? How many people regret the things they said in moments of impulsiveness, wishing they could take them back? Wisdom teaches us that words are like arrows. Once released, they cannot be pulled back. This is why a pause, even a few seconds of silence before replying, can make all the difference. In that pause, you give yourself space to choose dignity over disrespect, kindness over cruelty, and calmness over chaos. And often, that small pause prevents a large one. Another layer of wisdom is recognizing that you do not always have to prove yourself. Many people waste energy trying to defend themselves in front of those who will never truly understand them. Instead of reacting to every doubt, every criticism, or every slight, wisdom allows you to conserve your energy and focus it on what really matters. You do not have to attend every argument you are invited to. You do not have to fight every battle placed in front of you. Wisdom teaches you to discern between what is worth your energy and what is a distraction. By doing so, you keep your peace intact and your focus sharp. Responding with wisdom also nurtures your spiritual growth. Every time you resist the urge to act on impulse, you strengthen your patience and discipline. You remind yourself that you are not defined by your immediate emotions, but by the choices you make in response to them. This builds a stronger character, one that reflects self-control, humility, and trust in Allah's justice. Wisdom aligns your actions with faith, because instead of rushing to defend yourself with anger, you lean on the assurance that Allah is the ultimate defender of truth. You do not have to control every situation with force because you believe in a higher authority managing the outcomes. At the heart of responding with wisdom lies a profound freedom. You are no longer chained by the need to retaliate or prove yourself. You are no longer at the mercy of others' actions or words. You reclaim your power by choosing how you will respond, and in that choice, you choose peace over chaos, dignity over impulsiveness, and faith over fear. This does not mean you suppress your emotions or ignore injustices. It means you deal with them from a place of strength, not from weakness. Wisdom allows you to respond in ways that protect your heart, preserve your dignity, and invite divine reward. In the end, wisdom is about elevation. While impulse pulls you downward into regret and conflict, wisdom lifts you upward into clarity and peace. It transforms the way you interact with others, the way you view challenges, and the way you handle yourself in every situation. And when you choose wisdom consistently, you not only protect your present but also shape a future filled with respect, stability, and tranquility. That is the true power of responding with wisdom. And it is a power every soul must strive to embrace. Finding strength in patience is one of the most transformative qualities a person can cultivate, especially in times of hardship, loss, or disappointment. Patience is not merely waiting for time to pass. It is the ability to endure without breaking, to remain calm without collapsing, and to trust the process without giving into despair. It is one of the most underrated strengths because many view patience as passivity, when in truth, patience is an active choice. It is the decision to stand firm when everything inside you is screaming to give up. It is the decision to believe that what is beyond your control will eventually work out in the way it is meant to, even if you cannot yet see how. Life constantly tests our patience. There are seasons when nothing seems to move forward, when opportunities close, when relationships strain, or when health and finances bring stress. In those moments, impatience whispers in our ears, urging us to act recklessly, to quit too soon, or to complain endlessly. Yet, it is exactly in these moments that patience reveals its true power. A person who learns to be patient transforms waiting into strength. They stop seeing delay as denial and begin to see it as preparation. What looks like a pause is often a process that shapes you for what lies ahead. Patience allows us to handle pain without letting it consume us. When something difficult happens, the immediate reaction is often resistance. Why me? Why now? But patience reframes the question. It says, what can I learn? What strength can I gain from this? Patience does not eliminate pain, but it gives you the ability to carry it with dignity. Instead of falling apart, you grow stronger under the weight. Just as muscles are built by resistance in the gym, inner strength is built by the resistance of life. Without trials, there is no growth. And without patience, there is no resilience. Another form of strength that patience brings is clarity. When we rush decisions, we often regret them. When we react quickly, we often escalate conflicts. But patience slows us down. It gives us time to think, to breathe, to reflect. In that space of waiting, we see things differently. A problem that seemed overwhelming in the heat of the moment might shrink when viewed with patience. A conflict that seemed impossible to resolve might dissolve with time. Patience brings perspective, and perspective often brings peace. Patience is also tied deeply to faith. To be patient is to trust that life is not random, that there is meaning even in the waiting, and that timing is not always in our hands. When you are patient, you acknowledge that there are forces at work beyond your understanding, and you submit to them with trust rather than resistance. This kind of patience does not weaken you. It empowers you because it shifts the burden from your shoulders to a higher authority. It reminds you that you do not need to have all the answers today, and you do not need to control every detail. Your task is to remain steadfast and consistent, even when results are unseen. The strength of patience also shows in relationships. How many bonds break simply because people lack the patience to listen, to forgive, or to grow together? Patience in dealing with others allows love, respect, and understanding to flourish. It helps us recognize that people like us are imperfect and in need of time to change. Without patience, we demand perfection and rush judgment. With patience, we extend grace, and in doing so, we protect and strengthen our connections. But perhaps the greatest strength that patience gives is endurance. Life is not a sprint, it is a marathon. The challenges we face are rarely solved overnight. Success takes years of effort. Healing takes time. Dreams require perseverance. Impatience makes us abandon the race too soon. But patience keeps us moving step by step even when progress feels invisible. And when you keep going with patience, you eventually reach places others never will, because they quit before the breakthrough came. Finding strength in patience is not about ignoring struggle or pretending life is easy. It is about embracing struggle with the mindset that it will not last forever and that endurance will always produce growth. It is about holding on when it feels easier to let go, about trusting when doubt feels louder, and about waiting with faith when everything inside you craves quick results. True strength is not shown in how loud you shout, how quickly you react, or how forcefully you fight. True strength is shown in the quiet resilience of patience, in the ability to keep moving forward with dignity even when progress feels painfully slow. In the end, patience transforms you. It molds you into someone who can handle disappointment without despair, waiting without wasting time, and challenges without collapse. It makes you stronger, wiser, and more grounded. While impatience makes you restless and reckless, patience makes you powerful and unshakable. It is in patience that you discover your deepest reserves of strength, and it is in patience that you find the courage to endure life's hardest seasons with grace. That is why finding strength in patience is not just a virtue, it is a survival tool, a shield, and a pathway to lasting peace. Trusting Allah's timing is one of the greatest tests of faith, and yet it is also one of the most liberating truths you can embrace. Every human being carries dreams, hopes, and expectations in their heart, goals to achieve, problems to solve, prayers waiting for answers. But life has a way of reminding us that things rarely unfold according to our schedule. Doors remain closed longer than we expect, hardships last longer than we want, and relief comes later than we imagine. In those moments of waiting, frustration often builds and questions fill the mind. Why is this taking so long? Why me? Why now? It is in these seasons that the lesson of trusting Allah's timing becomes essential. Because when you truly understand that every delay, every pause and every setback is part of a divine plan, you begin to see waiting not as wasted time but as preparation for what is yet to come. Human beings are impatient by nature. We want instant results, immediate answers, and quick relief. But if everything in life came instantly, there would be no growth, no endurance, and no need for faith. Allah, in His wisdom, withholds certain things until the right moment, not to punish us, but to prepare us. Sometimes the delay is protecting us from harm we cannot see. Sometimes the waiting is shaping us into someone strong enough to carry the blessing when it arrives. And sometimes what we desire is not denied, but simply postponed, because the right time has not yet come. Trusting Allah's timing means believing that the delay is never empty. It is always meaningful. Think of a seed planted in the soil. It does not sprout overnight. It takes days, weeks, even months before the roots grow strong enough to push through the earth and reach for the sun. If you dug up the seed too soon, you would destroy it before it had the chance to grow. Life works the same way. Many of us want to see immediate growth, instant success, or quick solutions. But Allah's plan works beneath the surface long before it becomes visible. What looks like silence is often unseen preparation. What feels like delay is growth happening in ways you cannot yet measure. When you trust Allah's timing, you allow the seed of your life to grow without digging it up prematurely. Trust also means surrender. It means acknowledging that you are not in control of everything and that you do not need to be. You can set your goals, make your efforts, and pray with sincerity, but the unfolding of events belongs to Allah. When things don't happen as quickly as you wish, you can either fight against the flow of life or surrender with faith that Allah's wisdom surpasses your understanding. Surrendering does not mean giving up, it means handing over the worry, fear, and anxiety that comes from trying to force outcomes. It is saying to yourself, I may not understand this right now, but I trust the one who controls all things. In that surrender, you find peace. Trusting Allah's timing also protects you from despair. Often when things don't happen as expected, people lose hope. They convince themselves that change will never come, that their prayers are unheard, or that their effort is wasted. But faith calls us to remember that no sincere effort goes unnoticed, no tear is unseen, and no prayer is unheard. The answer may not come in the way or the time you imagined, but it will come in the way and time that is best. Trust transforms despair into patience and patience into strength. It gives you the courage to continue walking even when the path feels endless, because you believe that relief is not a matter of if, but only when. And another gift of trusting Allah's timing is contentment. When you truly believe that everything unfolds exactly as it should, you stop comparing your journey to others. You no longer look at someone else's success and feel left behind, because you know your story is unique and your timing is different. You understand that what is written for you will come to you and nothing can prevent it. This frees you from envy, rush and restlessness. You begin to live with gratitude in the present while waiting with hope for the future. Trust is not passive, it is active faith. While you wait, you continue to work, to pray, to strive, and to grow. You do not sit idle expecting everything to fall into place without effort. Instead, you live with balanced effort in your hands, trust in your heart. You take each step knowing that success is not just the result of your effort but also the gift of Allah's perfect timing. This mindset allows you to embrace both success and delay with grace, knowing that both carry wisdom. Ultimately, trusting Allah's timing is about freedom. Freedom from the chains of impatience, from the burden of control, and from the weight of worry. It is living with the conviction that the same one who brought you this far will carry you further. It is resting in the knowledge that you are exactly where you need to be right now, and that tomorrow will unfold exactly as it should. This trust doesn't make life easier, but it makes your heart stronger. And when you live with that trust, you discover a deep peace because you no longer live as a prisoner of time. You live as a servant of the one who controls it. Peace in surrendering control is one of the most profound forms of inner freedom a person can experience. Human beings often live under the illusion that they can control every outcome, manage every detail, and determine the exact timing of their lives. We plan, we predict, we prepare, but life rarely unfolds exactly as we imagine. This constant effort to control the uncontrollable leads to stress, anxiety, and disappointment. The truth is there are countless things in life that lie beyond our power. People's opinions, unexpected events, setbacks, and even the timing of blessings. When you try to hold on too tightly, life has a way of reminding you that your grip is not strong enough to carry everything. It is in letting go, in surrendering control to Allah, that you discover a peace that cannot be shaken by circumstances. Surrender is not about weakness or inaction. It is not about abandoning responsibility or refusing to strive. It is about recognizing the limits of your control and trusting that what lies beyond those limits is safely in the hands of the one who knows more than you, sees further than you, and loves you more than you realize. Surrender means you give your best effort where you can, but you do not destroy your peace over what you cannot change. It means you understand that your role is to act with sincerity and faith, and Allah's role is to decide the outcome. Once you internalize this truth, life becomes lighter because you no longer carry burdens that were never meant to be yours. Think of how exhausting it is when you try to control people's perceptions of you. You want everyone to like you, to understand you, to agree with you. But the reality is, no matter how hard you try, there will always be someone who misjudges or misunderstands. When you surrender control, you stop wasting energy on trying to change every opinion. You focus instead on living with integrity and letting Allah handle the rest. That shift alone frees you from so much unnecessary pain. It is the same with outcomes, whether in work, relationships, or personal goals. You can prepare, plan, and work diligently, but the result is not always in your hands. Surrendering control means accepting that reality without bitterness, trusting that even if things do not go your way, they will go the best way. The beauty of surrender is that it transforms fear into faith. Fear thrives on uncertainty. The what-ifs, the unknowns, the unanswered questions. It keeps your mind restless and your heart unsettled. But when you surrender, you replace what if with whatever happens, Allah will handle it. That shift is powerful. Suddenly the unknown is no longer a source of fear but a space for trust. Instead of worrying about every possible outcome, you rest in the assurance that Allah already knows the outcome, and it is written with wisdom and mercy. This surrender brings peace not because life becomes easier, but because your heart becomes calmer. Surrender also gives you resilience in times of hardship. When you face difficulties, the natural instinct is to fight against them, to resist, to demand that they end immediately. But sometimes, what you are going through is not meant to disappear instantly. It is meant to shape you, to strengthen you, to redirect you. By surrendering, you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" You learn to endure without bitterness, to wait without despair, and to accept without losing hope. In that endurance, peace blossoms. You no longer see hardship as punishment, but as part of a larger plan designed to lead you somewhere greater. The peace that comes from surrender is also practical. How many sleepless nights are wasted replaying past mistakes or worrying about the future? How much mental energy is drained by trying to fix what is out of your hands? When you surrender, you stop carrying yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's anxieties. You live in today, focusing on what is within your reach. You still dream, you still plan. You still strive, but you do it with the lightness of someone who knows the results are not solely theirs to control. That mindset frees your heart from stress and fills your life with balance. Surrender is not a one-time act, it is a daily practice. Each morning you wake up, you remind yourself, "I will give my best, but I will not carry what is beyond me." Each evening you sleep with the comfort that you did what you could, and the rest rests with Allah. Over time, this habit rewires your heart. You stop resisting life and start flowing with it. You stop clinging desperately and start trusting deeply. The peace that emerges is unshakable because it no longer depends on everything going your way. It depends only on your trust in the one who never fails. In the end, peace in surrendering control is not about escaping responsibility. It is about finding freedom in responsibility. You do what you can with excellence, and you hand over the rest with faith. You stop living in constant stress and start living in steady trust. This peace is unexplainable to those who have never experienced it. But once you taste it, you realize it is the kind of peace every human heart is searching for. It is the calm that comes not from having control, but from knowing who truly has it.